Hello. All right, all right, all right. Hey, everybody. I'm not on the camera right this second, but I shortly will be. Let's see. I'm just grabbing a few things that I need. And, yeah, so we're going to be doing some things tonight. And I figured normally I don't show this stuff. Normally, if I'm working down here and doing stuff, especially if I'm prepping for a session, I don't really live stream that stuff because to me it's not all that interesting. It's just kind of a part of the gig, and uh, and so of course I think, well, why would you think that's interesting at all? Um, but for a few reasons. Um, One, we need. Hey there, how's it going? It's a brand new face cam from Elgato right there that we're using for the control room, and we're pretty much going live everywhere, I think. And anyway, so yeah, so what I'm doing this whole evening is I'm swapping out drum kits for some recording that we're doing tomorrow, Monday, and charge that up. There we go. So I'm doing some recording with a completely different kit. I'll give you a quick glimpse of the live room here for just a second. So I moved my GoPro back so you can see most of the live room in there. And that kit that's in there right now is going to get changed out. Let's see, where's my talking mic? There's my talking mic. I'm gonna pump my way. So yeah, that is going to get changed out today for a completely different kit because I've got some surf rock stuff. I've got a few more of these orchestral soundtrack cues that I'm doing for a buddy of mine. And so there's just a bunch of different stuff that I'm going to be recording tomorrow and Monday, late Monday. And so normally I don't do this. Normally I don't, unless I'm trying to teach you something or I'm just kind of testing some stuff out, or if you're a part of my Patreon paid community, I don't really do live streaming like this. Even when we're doing drum live streams, it's become a because I'm on a membership drive. Consider this the like a what is it, PBS? It's a membership drive. Except I'm not asking for your money. I'm just we're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube and 2,000 watch hours. Yeah, 2,000 watch hours, so that we can monetize that channel. I've had that channel now for almost as long as YouTube has been around, and we've never monetized it. And if you haven't been by the YouTube channel today, there's a brand new video I just put out called Supercharge Your Swing. I've already got the trolls after me. The Jazz Police has come after me with some of my terminology, and I proudly wear that badge of honor. If you could see I hope my reply was good. It was it was thoughtful. He put a lot of thought into trolling me. I'm sure he had the best of intentions in trying to set me straight, and I just had the best of intentions in trying to explain to him, what it is I'm trying to do here. Anyway, so if you haven't seen the video, please go watch it. And if you're a drum instructor or drum teacher of any sort, please share it with your students. My hope in putting that video out today was to make jazz a little less scary for new drummers to learn. And when I say new drummers or young drummers, I'm really not talking about your chronological age. I'm talking about your age behind this instrument. If you've only been playing for, 2 or 3 years, or if you've been playing for 20 years and you've never tried to learn how to play jazz. It can be scary and daunting, and I've always been frustrated that people want to make it this cryptic. Like I said, my thing on Facebook today, they want to make it this gauntlet that you have to run to learn to play jazz, and they take all the fun out of it. And yes, it's a lot of work to learn to play jazz well, no matter what style of jazz you're playing. And my troll today, thank you very much for setting me straight on the difference between swing and bebop. Yes, I know there's a difference, just like there's a difference between hair metal and grunge rock. It's all rock and roll, but they're very different things. I understand that. But again, we've only got so much that we can say in a video. You know, I put a 25-minute video out and people watch 5 minutes of it and wish that 25 minutes were only 5 minutes. That would probably way oversimplify things. So anyway, I didn't get on here to complain and moan because I feel like I'm doing a good thing by spending my time trying to put out some solid educational material that encourages people to play, encourages people to practice, and not just to practice, but practice the right stuff that'll help you get better on your instrument. So anyway, that's not what I jumped on here to talk about. But what I did jump on here to talk about is, if you haven't been here in the studio, this is the control room, or at least as much as you can see from that camera. This is some of the front of the control room here with the Behringer wing that we use to mix all the live streams, and it also handles mixing headphones around here. It's not the main engine that drives things when we're recording. There's about 40 channels of all kinds of different mic pre's in here, from Neve N72 clones to Focusrite, Day King. There's a ton of Universal Audio in here. There's some vintage stuff as well. And then compressors. You can just see part of my compressor rack over here. A lot of outboard gear that we use. I'm going to take you in the live room just a few minutes while I'm swapping this kit out. And I'm just going to let you hang with me for the next hour or so. And as I'm changing out drums, I'll talk about what I'm doing, why I'm using the kit that I'm using, why I'm using the cymbals that I'm using. And you'll actually be able to, as I go into the other room, you'll be able to, where's my mouse? Right there. You'll be able to see what we're doing. So I'm going to flip over to the live room. And yeah, so that's the shot of the live room. I have my wireless mic going. Hopefully that's loud and clear. I'm not monitoring this tonight. But yeah, so here we got the live room. This is where I record all my drum stuff. One of the reasons why I'm doing more of this live streaming is we need more watch hours. And to get more watch hours, I can make tons more produced videos. Or I can do stuff like this and just live stream from the studio, kind of show you things. And let's see. Let's put you over on that camera. Hey, how's it going? Some of you that have watched my videos have seen this vantage point here from the front of the live room. And I'm just going to kind of get some things where I can swap cameras as we go. And like I said, I can see your comments over there. I believe the comments are working. And we're streaming to pretty much all the platforms this evening. We're streaming to both my personal and my professional Facebook page. We're streaming to YouTube. How's it going, YouTube? Hopefully, if you're on YouTube, you've watched my video. If you haven't, feel free to go watch it after we get done with the live stream we're doing right now. Let's see. I don't want to install all of that right now. I want to go to this. Okay, cool. But we're also streaming to Twitch, which that's kind of a new platform for me. Still trying to figure Twitch out. And where else are we streaming to? Heck, I don't know. We're probably streaming to Mars. But so the thing I'm doing this evening is I'm changing out this kit for a completely different kit here at my studio at Secret Cove Studios. There are 14 different complete drum kits. There's hey, how's it going, Barcelona? Good to see you. Thank you for hanging out with me here on the tubes. It's good to see you. We're swapping out a drum kit here at my studio, Secret Cove Studios. We've got 14 different complete drum kits. There's a bunch of other orphan drums as well. There's 85 or 86 snare drums, about 100 cymbals. I change out this kit almost every session, because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get a sound that's very specific for the client that I'm working for. So just make sure all my cameras are working. Yep. If you've seen any of my videos, you know these cameras. I did change this overhead so you can kind of see what we're doing. So with this kit I've had up the last week or so, doing a bunch of soundtrack cues. This is a Gretsch. This is a Gretsch New Classic kit in 20 by 16, I believe. I've got a 12-inch tom and a 14-inch floor tom. These actually come from two different New Classic kits. I have one New Classic kit that I have a 20-inch bass drum, which is this one. I've got two 22-inch bass drums, and that kit has toms going from 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. This kit comes from that kit. I've got another kit that's a slightly different wrap that is set up specifically for doing jazz. It has an 18-inch kick drum with it and 12 and 14-inch toms. That was the kit that I've been using this last week, and just to record a whole bunch of different soundtrack cues for a composer buddy of mine. And but the snare drum's kind of different. I'm gonna pull this up so you can see it. This snare drum I found used in a music store probably 15 years ago. This is what's known as a Donahoe Drums Custom Maple Series. This is a 3-ply. It's super duper thin. Yeah, it's a 3-ply maple shell. Unfortunately, the guy who made these drums and owned this company is no longer with us on this astral plane. But while he was here, he made this incredible 3-ply maple shell drum that's got straight hoops on it. And I've got this drum set up with a calfskin head on top, and on the bottom, it's the Evans 56 calf tones. On the bottom, it's a snare side 300 and some Pure Sound snares. This is meant to be a very open, you can kind of hear it in my mic there, a very open, woody, vibrant, toneful snare that I use anytime I want a slightly older sound. In this case, we were doing some jazz stuff, but we were also doing some cues where I just needed some older sounds. So that was the reason to have this set up. The cymbals that I was using for the last few days, I've changed these around a little bit from tune to tune, but it did center around these Paiste 20 14-inch hats. This is a 22-inch Paiste Traditionals light Traditionals ride. You can't get one like this because I took a few months and I relicked this cymbal so that it sounds like it's about 50 years old. At one point, probably 6 or 7 years ago, I was going to start a company that relicked cymbals, basically used physical and chemical means to alter the chemistry of a cymbal and age it exponentially. So this cymbal got aged about 50 years in 60 days. And it sounds like it. I think I can turn my mic off, and I think my drum mics are still up. Let's see. Yeah, so that cymbal sounds a lot older than it is. If you have a 22-inch Paiste light traditional ride, you probably notice it's a much lower pitch and it's a bit drier through some of the stuff that we did. But and then over here, I'm using the 20-inch. I've got 20 and 18-inch Formula 602 Modern Essentials crashes. I've been a Paiste artist since 1997. I've been using Paiste since the early 90s, since I was in college. And so the Modern Essentials are sort of my go-to for most recording sessions. They just happen to be perfect for what we've been doing the last few days. But don't tell Paiste. I'm actually having to swap these out. I'm working on a surf rock record the next couple of days. And it's very much in the style of the Ventures and maybe Dick Dale or any of that kind of surf rock from the 60s. And so this kit's getting changed out for a 1957 Gretsch 3-ply round badge kit. You'll see it here in just a little bit. And I'm also going to pull a bunch of cymbals. They're all good. I think most of them are going to be Zildjians from the 50s and the 60s. So I'm going as period. Oops, sorry, I forgot my mic is actually in my hat. Scratch my head and make all kinds of noise with you. My goal here is to get as period close as I can to the sound of those old Ventures records and some of those other surf rock bands from the time. So we're going to use some 1957 drums. Hadn't decided on the snare drum yet. And then most of the cymbals are going to be from the 50s and the 60s, which are going to require that I use some Zildjians. So just don't tell my company that. Of course, they know that. They know when I'm recording. I use whatever the right tool for the job is. Anyway, so I'm going to put this other camera on so you can kind of see the whole live room as I'm moving around. I'm going to put. If I had a roving camera, I'd take you into the other room. Over here, we've got some of the drums and some of the kits that are here. There's a couple more kits that are in this room where the booth is. We've got about an 8x10 vocal booth that is also storage for 3 drum kits. Let's see. As I'm in the other room, I hadn't decided on the snare drum yet. I'm not going to make that decision yet. But yeah, so the idea here is that I change out these kits depending on the sound that I'm looking for. Let me turn my phantom power off on those microphones. We're going to change some microphones out as well, too. Phantom off there. Hopefully this won't pop. Let's see, phantom off, phantom off, phantom off, phantom off. That's probably going to pop some mics, but sorry about that. Anyway, yeah, because I'm going for a different sound, I'm probably going to change the microphones out as well. So for right now, though, I'm just going to hang those here. Because they look better on camera, a lot of times I'm using these Beyerdynamics. This is, I wish I could remember. I know 58 is in the series. How about I look on the mic? It's a TGD 58C. This is a great mic. If you're looking for a clip-on condenser mic that's going to sound really good in most cases, then yeah, those are great mics. I'm not using them for the session. Again, there's certain kinds of things I'm going for in terms of sound, and I don't think that that's going to give it to me. So if anything, I'm going to use some kind of dynamic mic. I'm either going to use some 421s. I'm going to go in here for a second. Some Sennheiser 421s, or I may use some Heil PR40s. While the Heil PR40 is not, it's not an old mic. It's just a very classic kind of sound in terms of what it does as a dynamic mic. The reason I like the Heil PR40s over the Sennheiser 421s is they've got a lot tighter pattern. So I get a lot more rejection of sounds from the rest of the kit. A lot more, there's a lot less bleed in those mics from cymbals and other drums when I use the PR40s. So I get a little bit more focused tone. And that's what we're going to be going for on that surf rock record. So actually, this is going to go in. I have another room that you don't see. If you've ever been to the studio here, you know when you come in the front door, that front room serves as both a teaching room and it serves as where I do most of my practicing. And so in that room, don't step on that, Brian. There's a couple of kits in there. One is my jazz kit that I practice on. It's a Gretsch Renown 57 that's set up, tuned in the bebop tuning, unlike this kit, which was tuned a little bit lower for these sessions. So what I'm going to do is keep the legs. We're going to need, actually, no, I'm not going to need these legs. Those those old Gretches have these really thin, straight legs. So Barcelona, if you're still watching, one of the places I would love to go, both to work and to vacation, is Barcelona. It's on my bucket list for sure. For sure on my bucket list. Anyway, so yeah, so this is pretty much, if not every day, every week, an every week occurrence here in the studio is changing out this kit. There's a few different USA Custom kits that are here, different sizes, different configurations, different tones and sounds. There's a Brooklyn kit here. You might have seen my video from a few weeks ago where I tested out the Evans Red Hydraulics on those Brooklyns, and they sound great. I dig the Brooklyns. Between me and the fence post, they may be getting sold soon because I have my eye on something else that I need the capital for. Hopefully that's not making a whole bunch of awful noise moving these mics around. Yeah, there's another drum kit that's coming available that I would really like to have. But right now I don't have several $1,000s in disposable income for it. And I don't want my wife to divorce me for buying kit number 15. So, she wouldn't do that, but she would certainly never let me hear the end of it, I think. No, it's just, there's a kit that's out there that I've had my eye on for years now. If you know anything about my snare drum collection, you may probably know which kit I'm talking about. I've got a few signature snare drums from one particular drummer that his signature kit, there's a very special one out there floating around. Well, not floating around. I know exactly where it is. And yeah, it's either sell a drum kit to get it, or I've got a tape machine I'm not using right now. That's a pretty special tape machine that's just not really getting very much use these days. I could probably let that go. So, yeah. So some of these kits live in here. If you look on this shelf, this is always a pain in the butt. Oh, Catalinas. I have a set of Catalinas that I bought in 2006. I'm a total Gretsch head. I have a few other things, but I've got a set of Catalinas in my teaching room over at the Beaufort Academy of Music. It's a set of Catalinas I bought for myself. This is always a pain to do. This waffle weave wants to move. I bought a set of Catalinas in 2006 to tour with. Had an original band called Ocean Street that I was producing the record and touring with at the time. And I needed a good, sturdy kit to take on the road because we were out on the road most weeks when we weren't in the studio. And I wanted something that sounded good, and that if it got beat up, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Hey, just got done with a gig, and now watching my way home. Hey, Paul, it's good to see you, bud. Yeah, the Catalina Club kit is a great kit. It's a great sound. I almost bought one as a kick-around kit a few years ago. And again, there's just, if you could follow me into this other room, you would see there's just tons of kits over here. I'm looking at these Gretsch Brooklyns I was talking about before. There's a mid-60s Ludwig in here, late 70s Gretsch USA Custom in here. But this is what I'm looking forward to bringing in and showing you here. Is this? Let's see if we can. I'll put this. Get on the other side and see if I can pick this up in front of the camera there. You can kind of see it there. This is a 1957 3-ply Gretsch round badge kit that I gotta say it. There's nothing that sounds like a vintage kit. Now, the new broadcasters are supposed to sound a lot like these. This has got the old consolette rail on it. It's got the internal dampeners. The only thing that I don't like about this drum set are the spurs. Yeah, let's put you in this camera so you can see the spur. Yeah, oh, it doesn't autofocus. Sorry. Yeah, that spur is about the same size as a number 2 pencil. And yeah, so it doesn't do great for holding the drum in place. It keeps it from rocking side to side. I've got these legs marked with a Sharpie so I know kind of where they're supposed to go. And so it's a 22 by 14. That's the magic depth. If you're wondering about kick drums, man, the magic depth for every great kick drum sound you've ever heard in your life that's classic, whether it's jazz or rock or 14 inches, man. As huge as Bonham's kits sounded, depth on that drum was 14 inches. 18 looks awesome. Doesn't sound nearly as good as 14. I'm just here to tell you. Anyway, so yeah, so that kick drum, I'm swapping pedals out because I use a different pedal for this other kind of stuff. And oh, while I'm at it, oh, feel free as we're talking about stuff. If you've got questions, man, just fire them off. I can see your Paul or Lubatero, anybody that's got questions, feel free as we're talking about this stuff. I love to talk about drums. I love to share from my experience, and usually that's it. It's what's my experience with this stuff. In the case of these drums, they require. I can't swap my camera from where I'm sitting, but they require that you use this. Why doesn't that look right? Oh, because you're putting it on wrong, dude. Oh, that's in the wrong spot. That's upside down. That would explain a lot. Whoever packed that last time for me. Whoever packed that means me. Anyway, yeah, the thing about those spurs, and I'm not going to change anything about this kit because it's just, I mean, it's as original as you can get in a vintage kit. These spurs don't do a great job if you really hit the drum hard to keep it from creeping. So, I don't like that. I have to put this on different kits different ways. Yep, that's the right way. That's the right way. I just don't, for some reason, oh, it's probably because I don't have the pedal on there yet. Yeah, let's do that. What genre are we setting up? Oh, we're doing a surf rock record. I've got a few more cues I've got to do. I just got sent by this composer. But most of the stuff that I'm doing for him on the composition stuff, most of it's cymbals. So it doesn't matter what kit that I've got up. I think I've got one tune where he's got some fake drums on there. And he basically said, if you feel like replacing the drums on there, replace the drums on there. And you can use whatever you'd like. So these things are versatile enough that I can get them to sound like a lot of different things. So who knows? They may end up on one of this batch of cues that I've got. All right. So yeah, so what that little thing does is it just keeps the, I mean, I wish I could give you a shot of that. It keeps the drum from creeping forward. Oh, there's light, big light right there. It keeps things from creeping when you hit the bass drum. So, since this drum's a little shallower, yep, there we go. I'll turn my mic off well, yeah, the overheads are on. You'll hear it in the overheads. I'll turn this mic off a second. old drums like this, these vintage drums. And nobody tells you this. By themselves, like just the kick drum by itself, even when it's tuned well, it's not thunderous. Tighten this up just a little. Move that muffle in a little bit. But for some reason, the microphones, I don't know, the microphones hear something different than we hear just in the room. The microphones hear something with these drums that it's just, it's hard to explain, man. It just, the way these things record, like these 57 round badges in particular, this is the sound of classic rock. All your favorite, whether it's the Rolling Stones or even some of the Chili Peppers records, believe it or not. But yeah, like the Rolling Stones, one of the most classic rock sounds in the entire world. It's Gretsch. It's that sound. It's this sound. I think it's why they started making the reissues of the broadcasters, because these things are getting hard to find in really good shape. You can still find them, but they're, like this kit in particular probably costs 3 times what I paid for it 10 years ago. Yeah. So the cost of vintage drums has just made it prohibitive to own them, unless you bought them a long time ago. So, yeah, so maybe sitting in the room, especially without having the actual kit set up, you know, the bass drum may be a little less than impressive compared to something new. But between what the mics hear that's different and what happens when you put the toms around that kick drum to give it more depth. Usually when I'm recording with these, I tend not to gate the drums so much. I tend to let them ring in the final mix, if I'm mixing it. There's something about that ring that gives these drums an incredible depth. So, yeah. Let's see, where did those other drums go? Let's see. I have to kind of walk around and, oh, right there, out in this outside room. Hopefully the wireless is doing okay when I walk out of the room. Hopefully it's not cutting out. Anyway, so, oh. So with this 13-inch tom, again, I tried to not do any modifications on these when I got them. I wanted to keep them as close to what they were originally as I could. This 13-inch round badge has this kind of clip style tom mount that normally you would mount it off of this rail consolette. It doesn't, when you do mount it from that, it just puts it in an odd place for me, and you don't get a lot of height out of it. I'm a taller guy, so I need the drum to be a little bit higher. And so, so what I've done is Geiger percussion that makes the rims mounts make this really cool thing. I didn't want to put a rims mount on it. I didn't want to change out the lugs or I didn't want to change out these with one of those suspension mounts or any of that stuff. I want to keep it as original as I could. So Geiger makes these cool things that basically clip. They go up underneath the tension rods, and it's kind of a little frame that holds the drum in place. just holds the drum. And so when I set it in a snare basket, that's one of the things about most rack toms, especially these deeper rack toms. A lot of times they'll tune up incredibly well off the stand, but then there's Eric. Hang on a second. Oh, okay. He's running late. Anyway, what I was saying was these larger toms, for some reason, you put them on a snare drum stand and then they just choke out. Like all of the depth and the sustain and all the wonderful things that you love about those drums just sort of go away when you just set them in a snare basket. So that's definitely going to have to be higher. I'll give you a better shot than the side of my dang head. Or actually, let's go there. So what Geiger's done is they've made this cool suspension that clips up under the tension rods in a few spots. And it just sits. Dust these off. Just sits in the snare basket, isolated from that mechanism. It works beautifully because whatever it sounds like tuned up in, if I'm just holding the drum, is what it's going to sound like when I put it on the stand. Probably hear a little of that resonance when I pull that up. So yeah, so with the 13-inch tom, put it on the stand. And I didn't even bother to tune it before I did that, but I just want to get the height right on it. Now it's already sounds great from the last time I used it. So yeah, so somewhere, kind of a little in disarray right now because things are just everywhere. Let me find a drum key real quick. I'm gonna just check the tuning on these things. Now I'm gonna do something, in talking about all of this wonderful sustain. I'm going to put something on these drums that's going to kill the sustain because that's the sound that I'm going for. I don't know if we're going to do it with tea towels. I think that's going to be the route we go. I've got a few other things that we could use to do it, but I think the tea towels are going to be the way to do it. We're going to really dry up those drums. In fact, while I'm standing in front of these tea towels in the other room, I'm going to grab these. I'm just going to need to find some gaff tape. And I still need to find a drum key. How about you look in your stick bag, Brian? Huh. Look at that. There's only like 50 of them in my stick bag. Now, one thing I will say about these vintage drums is many of you guys know that I've been an Evans, along with being a Paiste person since 97. I've been an Evans artist since 97 as well, and I use Evans on everything. The only problem is with vintage drums like these round badges, I can't get an Evans head to fit on this drum. And it's not that the drum's out of round, it's that the measurement, the diameter of this is slightly different than a modern drum. And I've tried every freaking Evans drum head that you can think of. I wanted to put the calf skins on here when those their calf skin version came out, but nothing fits. If I do get it on there, it's incredibly tight. So I do have to use some Aquarian heads. These are the American Vintage mediums, just a medium single ply coated head. With the American Vintage, as opposed to their, I think they call it modern vintage, the diameter of these drum heads is a few millimeters wider, so that I don't know which camera to use to talk to you, so that it sits around this drum and it doesn't impinge on the side of the drum. It doesn't squeeze the drum. You actually I can get a couple of fingernails worth of width in between the head and the side of the drum if I just kind of go around. So the drum just sits truer on the drum head sits truer on the bearing edge, and so this is this kit, and I've got a WFL kit from '57 that has these same heads on it. For the exact same reason. you can't get. This is probably gonna sound like crap in my hat mic, but my dog doesn't like that. I'm gonna turn this hat mic off so I can just see what it sounds like just in the overheads there. Tape on the top and the bottom. I could probably use this. Still has both of the internal mufflers. The reason I don't use the internal mufflers is with internal mufflers, I mean, even if you just engage them a little bit, you're pushing up on the head, and that pushing actually brings the pitch of the head up. So if I'm really trying to tune these low, and then I use that internal muffler, it just brings the pitch up beyond what I want it to be. You know, I'm looking at this picture now. I want these lights to be blue. My ADD is going to kick in here a little bit, y'all. Sorry. What does it look like if, yeah, I like that. That blue looks nice. Yeah. Let's go over and change this other one. I just put these in the other day. Yeah, looks nice. I like the blue. The blue's nice. Anyway, so yeah, so what I was saying was the internal muffler drives the pitch up, and so if you're trying to get a really, get it fairly low, especially that bottom head fairly low, then you're sort of defeating the low tuning by doing that. Now, what it sounded like when I was holding it is exactly what it sounds like when I put it on the stand. I mean, the sound of it hasn't really changed. But I tell you what I am going to do, because we're going for that Ventures, Walk Don't Run, Slaughterhouse, whatever the name of that tune is, that kind of sound. It's probably too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play around with, now visually this is going to look awful. But we're not going to be videoing this over and above me just kind of doing this. So normally what I would do is I would take a couple pieces of gaff tape and just lay enough of that tea towel on, and with a couple pieces of gaff, it's going to get me where I need to go. So let me see if I can find that real quick. We'll put you over here so you can kind of see me wandering around the live room here. Somewhere, I have some gaff tape. I have to go to the other room for it. So I'm just going to put a little piece of gaff tape on there to hold that on the drum. Where are you, gaff tape? No, you're around here somewhere. And so what that's going to do is it's just going to give me a really short note. And one of these tunes has almost a wipeout type beat in it. It's kind of a drum feature. And, sorry, hit the hat mic again. And so you want to have that super short decay, because when you're going digga-digga-digga-digga-digga-digga-digga, if the drum decays too much, then it's going to just be woofy, and you're going to lose all of the definition of the notes. So I'm sure they probably just use the internal mufflers. I could probably get away with that. But I like the tea towel approach. The reason I like the tea towel approach is just depending on how much towel I use and how much of gaff tape that I need to anchor it, I can really control exactly how much sustain I want to get out of that drum. This is nuts because I don't see my roll of gaff tape anywhere. Now, I have some gaff tape on the wall here. I'll just use that. Apparently I was dampening something in the other room and had some gaff tape that I stuck a stripe of gaff tape to the wall. And so, yeah, so I've got a stripe of gaff tape there. Paul, if you're still on, what was the gig that you had earlier today? Paul's one of my students. And just got his driver's license not too long ago, and kid's already out gigging for money, y'all. It does my heart good. He could be flipping burgers, but no, he is Look at that. That's it. That's perfect. Now I may have to put a little piece right in the middle so it doesn't flop. You know, make a little rustling sound in the mics, but that won't change the sustain too much, I don't think. Yeah, there we go. The mics are going to love that. The close mics are going to love that. When it comes time to mix that thing, it's going to love it. Let's see. I'm just going to turn my hat mic off and just in the overhead see what this sounds like here. You, but that's the sound. That's the sound that I'm looking for. Just dead enough is basically the sound. It's got a little bit of a little decay so that it actually has a note, but for the most part, that tea towel just helps to tame the sustain of the drum. All right, so this is probably my only gripe about these vintage floor toms. Is, let's see, hang on a second. I hope you'll let me do this on camera. Let's see. Oh, cool. I have to tell them don't say anything bad because you're on the live stream. Anyway, yeah, let's go to camera 3 so you can kind of see this. So these floor tom legs, one, for the most part, somebody bent these just a little bit, but they're straight. That's one thing. They're just straight. So all the energy, if you put a lot of energy into one of these drums when you're hitting it, the drum can kind of bounce on the floor, actually. The other thing is they're not very long, and they're pencil thin, just like the bass drum spurs. They're pencil thin, so there's a little bit of give. I need a Windex. These things are dirty. There's a little bit of give, so the drum is a little bouncy. Oh gosh, I need a Windex this whole drum. I took this on a session somewhere else, and I think I spilled a drink. I think I remember spilling a drink, and there's a little bit of drink on there. I'll have to clean that off later. It's sticky. I must have been drinking a Coke. Anyway, but there's that beautiful round badge. Look at that, man. That's if you ever want to see something beautiful, right there. I know it's probably out of focus. This camera doesn't autofocus. It's a fixed focus lens. That tacked on round badge, man, and it's tacked on. You can tell because it moves. It doesn't rattle or anything when I hit, but yeah, just try and push the tack down just a little bit. Just tacked right into the shell. So yeah, so that is. I'm gonna put a little bit of a tilt towards me. So basically, for my height, I have to get these legs all the way up, and then I just tilt one ever so slightly. So same kind of thing. I'm just going to tear a few pieces of this gaff tape. That I had hanging on the wall, thank goodness. First, let's make sure that's in the right place. Yeah, there we go. So I'm just going to tack this corner down. Tack this corner down. And again, put a little one in the middle. Because this one tends to float a little bit more, there's a lot of air and vibration that gets generated. I probably stick it to the rim too. All right. So yeah, so that should give me what I'm. Yep, I'll turn this mic off so you can hear it in the overheads. Yeah, so that's just overheads and a little bit of kick drum mic, should be. We'll get some mics put on these things in just a second. And yeah, so just a little more sustain on the floor tom than on this tom, because yeah, we're all going to be doing that digga 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 kind of thing. And so yeah, so you can kind of see from the overhead there, that's going to be the setup. Now I just got to choose a snare drum. I hadn't really thought about that yet. I want to go old, but remains to be seen. Remains to be seen. Let's go in the control room for a second and let's make a call. Since you are just hanging out with me, let's make a call to our friend Eric, buddy of mine who has a studio not too far. And I want to talk to Eric for a second and see what he needs happening here.
Hey, man.
Hey, what's going on?
How you doing, man?
I'm good.
All right. So let's see here. Thanks for walking me through. So, all right. So is this one of those things where I'm going to do it in one track, one song, and then kind of do the same thing in every one, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Just import that track, and once you set it up the first time, it'll be the same every time you import it in every other session.
Okay, so first let's deal with the hardware situation. So I got a couple extra cables here, so
Okay.
And I got a 58. So what am I plugging in as if I were just gonna set up another track?
Yeah, put it in channel 8. I always put it in, if I've got 8 channels in a bucket, I always put it in the 8th one. Remember there. So just reach around the back of your into your Apollo.
Okay, so microphone. I'm gonna put it on a boom stand, kind of right in front of my face, so I'll be able to just talk into it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so the other end, I'm going back. Now I have the snake now set up 1 through 8. So
cool.
I'm still gonna just replace the 8th one.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Just replace the 8th one.
Now last time, I was in 13 for the violin. I'm in 13.
Yeah. It's 1 through 8. Our inputs 1 through 8 to work with. So, yeah. So that just
go directly into the Apollo.
Yeah.
Don't use
yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Don't use your inputs in the room or anything.
Okay, got it. So just pull 8 and let it just hang there.
Yep.
And replace it with this guy. All right, that's in there.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So that's set up. All right. So then what's happening?
So open a Pro Tools session. Well, first open console and make sure you can see it. And you'll probably have to, since it's a 58, you'll probably have to crank the level up on the input a bit.
Right. Okay, open up console. Do I look under analog 8 then, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Now, should it be on mute like the other one, or since we're not really using?
I don't think it matters.
Hold on a second, B.
Okay.
Whatever y'all want. Ask Yvonne. I don't know. Just because you have to get her card anyway. Sorry. Okay, so did you say leave it on mute?
Yeah. I think that the mute only just pertains to the outputs.
So we're not hearing it twice, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, you're gonna mute it. Yeah. Well, no, actually, no. You're not gonna have to. It won't matter. It won't matter.
It don't matter because it's gonna mute and unmute.
Right. And okay. The way I'm gonna have you set up the monitoring, it won't come back into your speakers. It won't come back into your speakers. You're not gonna have it record stuff. Yeah. No, don't.
I think my speakers are down. Yep, there I am. Check. Okay.
Yeah. So you're probably not going to want to hear it, but we'll deal with that in a second. So open a Pro Tools session.
All right, I'm open.
Okay. Make a mono aux track.
Okay. should I put it over by the click maybe, just so I know where it's at?
Yeah, just wherever it's convenient for you. If getting everything together track wise is convenient to have it all together on the screen.
All right,
then
mono
put it there.
audio track, which I
No,
didn't
no,
realize.
aux track, not an
Oh,
audio.
my bad.
No,
Yeah, gotcha.
yeah. And there's a
I knew
real
that's one of those where while I'm doing it, I'm like, this is
there's a real specific reason why.
okay.
Yeah.
Click. All right, so open up a mono. Aux input.
Yep.
Okay, gotcha.
All right. So once you got that, go ahead and label it talkback.
Okay. Got it.
And set the input for that that particular analog input. I think it's going to be what's
Mic
8?
line 8.
Yeah, mic line. Yeah, mic line 8.
Okay.
And then set the output for that headphone mix.
The one that she's going to be listening on to.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So which is track, or it'll be under.
It should be headphone G or
headphone,
H.
F.
F,
Yeah,
okay.
it was F. The second one in that room. Got
Okay.
it. Yep.
All right, so that way it's
Okay.
not coming back into your speakers, which we don't want it to do
gotcha.
that. That way you don't get
Sure,
any feedback.
Sure.
Is it coming back into your speakers though?
Yeah, I still hear it.
Okay, then mute it in console.
Okay, let's see. Check. Yeah, that did it. That
Yeah.
killed it.
Yep. So that way it won't be
Okay,
coming
so-
in.
so, Elise, can you push that door open, which is easier said than done, and go in there and put those headphones on real quick and use your foot. And then see if you can hear me talk to you in the headphones. Just making sure she's got.
Mhm.
Testing. Low. Is it real loud or normal? Pretty loud. Okay. I can adjust the level on the fader or in the console.
No. On the fader in Pro Tools.
Okay, so in the console, should I just have it like halfway up or something? Like
I would, as long as it's muted, I don't know that it matters because I think
Okay,
it's
gotcha.
taking the input before the mute it and you don't hear
Gotcha.
it. So
is that? Wait, do it one more time, babe. Is this better? It's like comfortable now. Okay. And how about if I hold it out here? You still hear me? Look. Okay, measure 34. What did I say? Okay, she's got me. It's perfect.
yeah.
So now, the app.
The plug-in. Mm-hmm.
Which I did. I downloaded, and it said it downloaded successfully. I just wasn't sure where to look for it when I went into the insert.
Yeah, it'll be in the same where your other plugins are.
Okay, so under, like, what do you think it would be under? Dynamics or?
That's a good question. Hang on, let me open. 'Cause I've got to see the brand name along
Okay, gotcha.
with the families.
Okay, gotcha.
Uh,
I can't remember.
just as it was about to come out of my mouth. As soon as I get. Go from there. Yeah, I've always done it. You just
Okay, so now-
instance it on that insert. Now, what happens automatically, unless you go into the plugin and open it up and click the big button in the middle, what
The one that's
happens?
like the play button.
Yeah, what happens is, anytime that your transport is stopped, it will. It's Hang on. Now I'm sitting there looking at it. Now I'm like, why can't I remember what this is? Sound Radix. That's it.
Okay, good.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
the
right.
yeah.
I had to join their whole thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
gotcha.
So what happens when you put that plug in and you just leave it like it is?
Mhm.
Anytime that your transport is not running, the channel for that talkback is open. The second that you hit play or record and play, it mutes your talkback.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, because 98% of the time that's what you want.
Right.
The other 2% of the time you may have to say something, while
During
somebody's
a
in the middle of a
right, like
take.
count something in or
Yeah.
whatever.
And if you need to do that, just open the plug-in up and hit the little red button in the right corner so it just stays on the screen.
Oh, gotcha.
And then just hit that button, that play button.
When you want to
Yeah,
talk.
when you want to talk.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can see it doing it. It's like it shows you the little picture when it's open and when
Yep.
it's not.
Yep.
That is so cool, man. Wow.
Yeah.
That was easy peasy.
Yeah, super easy, and it's one of those where it really is a real time saver in terms of having to the jock your talkback button all the time.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah, like having to just and you have to reach out. And, yeah, you want to be doing other stuff with your hands too while you're saving or opening up another playlist, but you're having to hold down that stupid button.
Yeah, it's like
Okay.
it just sort of monitors itself, and you don't
Yeah.
even have to worry about it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, I've got it all set up. All right, well, so tomorrow's the big day, so I'll let you know. Again, I'll text you and see what you're doing if I have any issues. But I think I have everything tested and run, and we're good to go. So now me and Elisa are about to work on the room a little bit, just trying to get it
Put some
treated
treatment.
a little bit,
Yeah.
the best I can for this session. And then each session I do, hopefully I'll have a little bit more treatment. But I did get that eyeball, and
Hey,
I've got it on there, so
yeah,
sure
that'll
helps
help.
a lot.
Yeah, that'll definitely help a
It
whole
makes
lot.
it, and I didn't know this was so cool. The eyeball said you have to turn your signal, like your gain, whatever you're sending, whatever the instrument's recording into, down usually by about 4 dB.
Yeah.
It's because it's so much more direct than
Yes.
without it. And also, my pop filter was getting real old and shitty too, so now this takes the place pretty much of a pop filter too.
Cool.
Which is cool. So yeah, I'll see how this all goes. But yeah, I'll let you know and let you hear some stuff that we record and see what you think.
Cool. Yeah, just if you need anything else or if you get stuck tomorrow, if something doesn't work right, just give me a buzz.
All right, man. I really appreciate you. You're a lifesaver.
Yeah, dude. Anytime.
All right, B. All right, talk to you tomorrow.
See ya.
Hopefully, I won't talk to you tomorrow.
Yeah. Text me and let me know everything went well.
Okay, I will. All right, man.
See ya.
Bye.
I'm going to show you what I was just telling Eric about. So I use this the way that I route my headphones for sessions. I have a choice. It depends on the kind of session that we're doing, but most of the time, live mics will get routed directly from. Oh, dinner's ready. I'm gonna have to go to dinner in a second. Live mics will come directly from the wing. And so all my inputs are in a patch bay. They get split. They're going into the recorder, into the Pro Tools interface, the Studio Matrix. And then one leg can go directly to the Matrix if I just want to go straight in. Unless I want to do some processing. If I want some of the compression or some of the EQ, that's usually it's EQ. If I'm needing to do a little EQ, I'll run it through the wing and use an EQ. If I'm doing compression, I got a whole analog compressor rack over there. Got some distressors, some 1176s, some SSL and tube stuff. Usually if I'm doing compression, I'm going to run it to the rack. But if I'm doing EQs nowadays, it's usually just kind of surgical kind of EQ, just touching up things. I will run it through the wing. Anyway, all the live mics for a session go in to the wing, and that goes to these PowerPlay headphone boxes. But then anything like my talkback or clicks or tracks that are in Pro Tools, any of that stuff has got to come back into this desk to go to there. So normally what I'll do, instead of having to jock a mute button here to do my talkback stuff, I always route mine just like what I was telling Eric. I always route. You can't see it because it's over. It's over behind. Let's get this back over here. It's behind my head. You can't see it. Move to top level. Dang it. Let's do that. All right. So I make an aux track. This is an aux track. It doesn't have any controls for recording at all. You just got a mute and a solo, but you don't have inputs or records. Hey man, what's going on? Good to see you. We're just talking about setting up talkbacks over here in Pro Tools. So what I do is so in this case I have my talkback mic that's generally on 1, and I think it muted itself. Nope. Yeah, mic 1. Not line 1, mic 1, Brian. Mic 1. There we go. All right, so you see, that's my talkback mic. My talkback mic is actually right here in the studio. So we got the talkback mic there. It's routed in. And then the output is going to this vocal booth queue. And I have a live room queue as well. If I have more than one place my talkback needs to go, I'll route these in my sends. And I'll just route the output of this to nowhere. But the idea is I don't want my talkback to come back into the room. So now I've got a hot talkback in my vocal booth. I may not always want a hot talkback in my vocal booth, primarily when somebody is doing a take. So instead of having to jock a button or worrying about muting things here, it's a free plugin made by SoundRadix called Mutamatic. So you can see right there, it actually shows you, hey, I've got voice right there. Now, all of a sudden, they can hear my talkback. Everything's running great. But watch this. As soon as I hit play or record and play in Pro Tools, it turns my talkback off. So now, since you're hearing me because I'm using my hat mic, but you'll notice on the screen there, it's muted. And if I wanted to talk to somebody, I just hit this button here, and now while it's playing I can still talk to them. But if I want to go back to what I was doing before, I just leave it. Now it's muting while it plays, and as soon as I hit stop, it automatically opens the channel back up. So Mutamatic by SoundRadix. I use their Auto Align plugin for drums a lot. Well, 50% of the time I'll do it. Yeah, this Auto Align plugin that they have is really, really good if you want to make sure that your drums are completely in phase. It's great for that. Now, it changes the sound of your drums, your live drums. There are times, especially with things like room mics and my GAC mic and other things, where part of the sound is the phasing, and so it doesn't help to run it then. But if you're trying to get things in phase between your close mics and your overheads, and you want to make sure if you got room mics that are spaced really far apart, if you want to make sure that those are in phase. Not going to lie, I feel very out of my depth here. Well, we were doing drums just a second ago, and then I had a buddy who's a client that needed some help with a talkback. So I was showing him how I set my talkback mic up. He's got a brand new home studio that we just... they're in the middle of finishing stuff on. I was over there consulting the other day and doing some stuff for him. And I was showing him how I set up my talkback. So I love setting talkback up this way because once I set it up at the beginning of the session, then I never think about it again. The only time I have to think about my talkback is like I was saying, if I need to talk to someone as they're doing a take, occasionally I'll have to count somebody in. And if I have to count them in, then I'm going to need to open that back up as Pro Tools is playing. Or if let's say we're doing a take, and maybe we get through the second chorus and there's a guitar solo, and we're not going to stop. We're in the moment. Everything's awesome. Everybody's super hyped, and I don't want to ruin the moment by hitting stop and skipping. We're just going to let that vocalist take a break in that 8 bars while that guitar solo is happening or that instrumental thing's going on. I may come back on the talkback and go, man, it feels great. Keep going. Just as an encouragement. And I'll just kind of come in on their talkback. So I'll open that plugin up and I'll just hit that button, and then I'll be in their ear for just a second. I flip it back off, and then I'm gone as long as we're not. Now, the only time you have to be careful to not use it, especially on a vocal session, is if we're chatty in the control room, especially after a take. If I'm working with either a band or an artist or a producer that's really chatty, I'm gonna probably use my talkback in a different way, because one of the worst confidence crushers is to have, say, a vocalist in the booth and they give you a take that for one reason or another, it's not a great take. It may be pitchy, it may be pensive, there may be something about it, but I can tell that we're heading in the right direction. The last thing I want to happen is to hit stop and hear someone in the control room go, well, that was pretty awful, or, oh my gosh, or make some kind of comment that's going to blow that person's confidence. I won't use this. I'll jock a mute button up here, and handle my talk back that way. But like I said, 95% of the time, that Mutamatic by Soundradix is awesome. It's exceptionally good for doing what I want to do with my talkback and stuff. So real quick, I'm going to go back into the control room. Just set you up there. So I just got a text from my wife that dinner is ready upstairs. So here's what I'm going to do. A couple of things. Yeah, it was 15 minutes ago. Dinner's ready. Trying to still get my hamburger while it's hot. All right, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to be down here most of the evening setting this stuff, getting sounds, doing all these things. I want you to be able to see that. I want you to see this process and answer any questions you have, and just talk with you. Like I say, we're trying to. We've got a goal for the end of August to have 1,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you hit the thumbs up and the like, because that's what gets the algorithm to share these things with more people. But if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And the other thing we need to do is we need to get another 1,000 watch hours, I think, to be able to be over that hump, so that we can monetize this channel. So that's one of the reasons why I'm starting to live stream more of these things. So I've got more time with you. Hopefully you sit here with me. We talk about stuff. If you're over on Twitch, listen, knowledgeable guy, I wonder if you could help a little. Oh, yeah. Man, anything I can do to help. That's why I'm here. Between YouTube videos, starting to stream now on Twitch, and I also teach privately during the week. Yeah, I'm here to help, man. If you got a question, fire a question off. If I can answer it, I'll answer it for you. That's part of why I'm here. Yeah, if you're watching this on Twitch, streaming on Twitch is kind of a new thing for me. If you're watching on Twitch, make sure you hit follow. We may have it set up so that you can do subscribe. I don't know a ton about Twitch. I'm starting to learn about Twitch through my son, who's a gamer. But it seems like a great place to be able to present this kind of stuff, answer your questions, and do all that stuff. So yeah. If you got any questions, feel free to put them in the comments. I'll answer them if I can. And if you're watching on Facebook, because we're going to both my Facebook pages right now, let's see. Release a song. I have no idea what genre it is, and welcome to Twitch. Don't worry. Oh, great. Thanks for the follow. I appreciate you. You don't know what genre it is. Okay. So the first thing that I usually tell people, because as a producer, I produce a lot of artists. And so as a producer, one of the first things that I ask, sometimes even before hearing someone's music, is I ask them, who are the 3 artists that influence the music that you're making? Directly influence it. Now, if you do metal, don't say Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan may be a huge influence on how you write lyrics, but musically, if you could name 3 artists or 3 bands, or if you're a hip hop artist and you rap, 3 rappers, like what would be those 3? and that's going to help point you towards a genre. Now, obviously, if you named 3 rappers, then you're in some kind of hip hop. It may be a subgenre of hip hop, but it's some kind of hip hop. But like if you're doing pop music, there's a lot of different kinds of pop music. There's singer-songwriter pop music. There's techno type pop music, synth pop. Not tech. Tech is a different thing. EDM pop music. There's a lot of different stuff like that. So I would tell you, think of what are the 3 artists that your music or that song remind you of directly. And it could be the sound of it. It could be the style of the writing or the music. It could be the sonics. Let's see. That's my issue. Haven't found a place yet. Let's see. Future bass, hip, neo soul, psytrance. So it's saying it sounds like Thundercat. When a lot of those labels, like future bass, definitely kind of hip hop, neo soul. I don't know about the trance part, but not necessarily techno house stuff, but definitely in terms of programming stuff and lo-fi for sure. Like Thundercat's one of those that at least some of those immediately hit me like Thundercat. There you go. Especially the future bass thing. And I don't know what they classify him as, but it's real easy to find out. You can go to Spotify or Apple Music and do that. Yeah, that's a good question. I'd have to hear it. If you want to send me, Brian at brianstevens.com is my email address, BRIAN at BRIANSTEPHENS. It's my name right here on the channel. Brian at brianstevens.com is my email. Send me a, you don't even have to send me a whole song. Send me a snippet. Most recent song, the bass is melody, which is odd. Oh, then you're definitely in the Thundercat arena of things. I don't know if you're familiar with Thundercat at all, but he's a bass player that does things on bass that don't sound like bass, and they're pretty dang amazing. Anyway, yeah, send me a little snippet. Email me a little snippet, or a link to something I can listen to. If you've got your music online, I'll listen. I'll reply to you and tell you what I think it is, or what you might want to classify it. And yeah. So I'm going to take a little bit of a break, go upstairs and eat a hamburger while it's still warm, or mostly warm. And then maybe 30 minutes, I'm going to come back down and we'll finish this live stream. I'll finish setting up the kit that we're going to use. We're going to dial in some sounds, get my headphone mix going. We may even chart out one of the tunes that we're going to do. Like I say, I'm going to try to live stream a lot more of this stuff because we need more watch hours on YouTube. And that way we can monetize the channel. So if you're on YouTube, make sure that you hit subscribe. If you're over on another platform, when you go over to YouTube, I'm easy to find. Just brianstevens.com/YouTube will take you right there. But if you search Brian Stevens Drums, you'll get to me as well. Make sure that you subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of August. And we're trying to get our watch hours up to 4,000 so that we can monetize the channel. That's one of the reasons to do these live streams. So anyway, thanks so much. I'm going to take a 30-minute break. I'm going to eat, come back. We're going to finish putting these drums together, getting sounds. Heck, we may even, I don't know if we're going to track a tune tonight. We'll try. It's great to see you. And thanks whether you're watching on Twitch or Facebook or YouTube or anywhere else that this happens to go. I don't even know where I've pointed it. But that's everything. And yeah, we'll come back and we'll finish these. This vintage Gretsch setup and get the right cymbals and see if we can get a nice surf rock sound for this record I'm working on next week. That's all I got for you now. Until 30 minutes from now. I'll see you when I see you.